Go.
Hello everybody, it's Justin, the health mentor from Lapeer CMH. Today I'm going to show you one very basic exercise that you can do anywhere without any equipment. It's the push-up. Some people love push-ups and some people hate push-ups. Either way, it's one exercise that everyone should probably have within the routine. So there are 4 or 5 different variations of push-ups, and again, it all has to do with your level of fitness and your level of upper body strength. There are a few things that no matter what type of push-up you're doing, there are 3 things you always want to have an emphasis on and focus on. So the very first thing when you're doing a push-up is your hand placement. Now, based on what muscle group or different goals you might have, you can always move your hands in closer or move your hands out. But the basic push-up should be done with your palms directly underneath your shoulders. Okay? The second thing you want to emphasize is having a straight line from the top of your head all the way down through your knees or your toes, depending on the type of push-up that you're doing. So we want our hands underneath our shoulders, and we want a straight line between our head and our knees or our toes. So if I'm doing medium hard push-ups, I do them from my knees. My straight line needs to go to my knees. If I'm doing a full push-up, the straight line needs to go from my head, through my shoulders, through my waist and hips, all the way down into my toes. The mistake that people typically make is their belly either sags because they're not using their abdominal muscles and their core muscles, or their shoulders are a little too weak for the push-ups that they're doing, and they bring their hips up nice and high to try to compensate for that. So we want no compensation, we want a nice straight line. The third part about a good push-up is the pace at which you do the push-up. Now, you could do push-ups really fast, or there's even a type of push-up called a plyometric push-up where you're trying to push your whole body up off the floor. That's much more advanced. Today we'll just stick with some very basic stuff. So the third part about doing a push-up is the tempo. Always slow and controlled. So my palms go directly underneath my shoulders, making my arms nice and straight. I make sure I have a straight line between my head and my toes. Now when I go down, I want to go slow and controlled down to where either my chest or my nose is just off the floor, and when I come up, I'm going to come all the way back up with my elbows locked out. So 3 things to do when you're doing push-ups. Always focus on hands underneath my shoulders, my body line is straight, and the pace at which I'm doing the push-up. Alright, so here's some basic ways of doing a push-up, from easy all the way up to advanced. So the most basic thing to do in order to build up your push-ups, if you've never really done push-ups before, or if you're just beginning your fitness, the best way to do a push-up to start is to start with your knees on the floor, hands underneath your shoulders as always. Get that nice straight line in your body, and you want to try to just hold this plank for anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute. Once you can hold this plank position for 30 seconds to a minute without your arms giving out, you move on to the next step, which is actually doing a push-up from your knees. So variation number 1, I do a plank position hold from my knees. Variation number 2, a little bit harder, I actually come down and do the push-up from my knees. Still keeping that body line straight. If you have a hard time going all the way down, that's okay. Just try going halfway down. When you can do 3 sets of 10 to 15 push-ups this way, it's time to move on to the next type of push-up. The next type of push-up is a full static plank or a full static body hold, where I bring my knees up off the floor. I have that nice straight line in my hips and upper back all the way through to my feet. My hands are underneath my shoulders. I try to hold this plank position. Once you can hold this plank position for about 1 minute to 2 minutes, it's time to move on to full push-ups. Full push-ups are just like push-ups from the knees, except for my toes are on the floor and not my knees. So again, are my hands underneath my shoulders? Yep. Do I have a nice straight line in my body, which means my abs are contracting? I'm not sagging my hips. I'm not picking my hips up too high. And I focus on my tempo. So this is just a standard basic push-up. You want to make sure your elbows are tucked in tight towards your ribs. Slow down, nice and slow up. That's the standard basic push-up. So we did 1, 2, 3, we've done 4 variations so far. I'll give you one more variation, which is a much more advanced variation of push-ups. I recommend you probably exercise anywhere between, just depending on your level of fitness, somewhere between 6 months and a year before you try this next one. This next one, you need something to put your feet on. It's just something to elevate your feet on. You can use a chair, you can use the couch. If you're really, really strong, you could use some type of high table. I've seen people, and I'll do this every now and then myself, I'll put my feet up into the wall, and that makes me really have to contract my core, but that's a little more advanced, that's down the future. So I get myself into the same push-up position as I was before, except for my feet are now going to go up on a stool or a chair. Anything will work. So my hands are underneath my shoulders, my body's nice and straight, and again I focus on the tempo, nice and slow down, and coming up. One more point of emphasis, and last thing I'll tell you, always focus on your breathing when you exercise, especially when you're doing strength exercises. Typically how you do it is you breathe in on the easy part and out on the hard part. So the easy part's going down, I breathe in, and as I come back up, I exhale. And there you go. 5 variations of one of the most basic exercises that works multiple parts of your upper body and your core. Thanks for watching and have a great day.